Alright, welcome to a video on simplifying square roots. This is our intro video for this unit, and we're going to be simplifying square roots a lot here. You're going to need to know how to do this for everything we do as we continue to go through this unit, as we do all sorts of things with our radicals. So, very important lesson here, as well as we'll be doing this in geometry. So we're going to use the method of factoring to primes and pairs. So whenever you have a square root, there's two answers. So like the square root of 4 is positive 2 and negative 2. There's a pair there. So we are going to look for those pairs by factoring to primes. And prime numbers are those numbers that are only divisible by 1 in themselves. So that's just all we're going to do is we're going to divide these numbers until we can't divide them by anything else but 1 or themselves. So in the first step, and there's multiple ways we can do these. Tons and tons of ways we can do these. We could start out by dividing this by 2. We could divide it by 5. We could divide it by 10. We could divide it by 25. There's lots of ways to do this. So the first thing is I'm going to factor to 5 and 10. All right, sorry about that. The lighting was not right. So we are going to factor to 5 and 10. So that means that we put these little roots. We have 5 and 10. Now we are going to look at the 5. The 5 cannot be factored any further. So we're going to now factor the 10. So for this step, 5 is done. We're going to factor 10 to 2 and 5. So we're going to break this down to 2 and 5. 2 and 5 are done. We can't divide them by anything other than 1 of themselves. The next thing we are going to do is cross out things with roots. So these things. So the 10 and 50. So we cross out the 10, we cross out the 50. Then we circle pairs of numbers. And we have a pair of 5s. So 5 and 5. So each circled pair take one number outside so we put a 5 on the outside, and for each number not circled, put under the square root. So that'd be our 2. So we're going to have a 5 on the outside, square root of 2, and that's it. That's how you simplify that. That is done. That's the answer. Now what we are doing is we are changing the form of this. Square root of 50 and 5 square root 2 equal the same thing. So please note that these are the same exact thing. They're not different. They just look different. Think about it. It's like this is sitting here. It's at the end of the day or in the morning when you wake up and you're all blah. This is after you take a shower and are all cleaned up and nice. All right. So the next example we're going to do is going to be a little bit more difficult because we're going to throw in some letters. So we have the square root of 80 n to the third. And this is fine because we can always remember that letters, these variables, are just numbers that we don't know yet. So we're going to do all the same things. We're going to take care of the number first. So we're going to factor 80 to, there's several things. We could do 2 and 40, 4 and 20. Let's go ahead and do that. Factor 80 to 4 and 20. Okay. And then we're going to factor the 4 to 2 and 2. And we're going to factor 20 to 2 and 10. So the 4 breaks down to 2 and 2. The 20 breaks down to 2 and 10. So we are done with our 2's, and we factor 10, 2, 2, and 5. So now we're done with 2 and 5. So what we get to do now is cross out numbers with roots. So that would be 10, 20, 4, and 80. So we're going to cross out all those numbers, 10, 20, 4, and 80. Then we're going to circle pairs. So we have a 2 and a 2. So we have a pair of 2's and a pair of 2's. So we got 2 pairs. Okay, so now we have these ends though. So now we're going to look at the ends. So we've got n to the third, which equals 3 n's. And we have 1 pair of ends. So circled pairs take 1 on the outside. Take 1 number on the outside. So that means we're going to have a 2 times a 2 times an n on the outside. And then not circled numbers go inside the square root. So that would be 5 times n. So we get 2 times 2 times n, square root 5 times n. 2 times 2 equals 4. So we get 4n square root 5n. And that's it. All right, we're going to do one more example. All right, our last example has a number already on the outside of our square root. Now, all of our other square roots did have a number out there. If you had like square root of 5, that's actually 1 square root of 5. We just don't say it. So we were actually multiplying by 1 in that last example. It was actually 1 times 2 times 2, but you don't actually, why multiply by 1? So here, we're going to ignore this 4 until the very end. So we're going to factor 125 to 5 and 25. So we just factor tree that to 5 and 25. 5 is done. So now we factor 25 to 5 and 5. So our 5s are done. Now we cross out numbers with roots. So that would be 25 and 125. Circle pairs. We got a pair of 5s. It doesn't matter which pair you circle. So I'm just going to circle that pair. So circled numbers go on outside. So we have 4 times 5 on the outside. Numbers left go inside. So that's square root of 5. So what we get is 4 times 5, square root of 5. 4 times 5 is 20. There we go.